Because sometimes people will say, Dave, there's a problem that's between us. And I'm going, why are you letting a problem come between you? What's a problem doing there? It should never be between you. And there's maybe two different ways to diagram this. One is you're there, and then there's the problem, and then the other person is on the other side, your spouse, and this problem is between you. The other way to diagram this is you and your partner are on one side and the problem's on the other side. So let's say the problem is a financial problem, and it's pretty simple. There's more money going out than what's coming in, which is stressful, and it's a problem. Don't let that problem come between you. You should have a conversation that goes like this. We need to have a conversation. We need to talk about our finances because I'm afraid that this is a threat to us. This is a threat to our marriage. This is a threat to our togetherness. Together, we have got to fight this. It's not about the other person. The other person's on your team. You guys are on the same side. So we never want to have problems come between us because we're partners. Friends are for that. Secondly, friends are for enjoyment. And that's pretty simple. I mean, friends are people you enjoy. In fact, you probably enjoyed them first, which is why you became friends. They're just fun to be around. So there's this practical side to marriage where we're meeting each other's needs, but then there's just this emotional side where it's just fun to be with this person. If you had a friend who was always a drag, eventually you would no longer be their friend. And this is just one of the harsh realities of life. Meryl Streep said, I thought life was going to be like college. Instead, it's like high school. It's so insightful. I mean, we think that life's going to be about what we know. It's really about who we know. It's about how we relate with people. Life's like high school. If you're not nice to people, you don't have friends. One of the things we got to think about when we think about being a good friend in marriage is fun. They did a study in which they found a correlation between eye rolling and divorce. So they studied the eyes of these couples, and as one of the partners is speaking, the other is, oh. Proverbs 27:15 says, a quarrelsome wife is like a constant dripping on a rainy day. Now, guys, hold your applause. Because this could all be reversed out, A husband who's always on his wife, guess what? That gets old fast. And if you're coming home to one thing and you're finding something different at work or at school or at church, it sets up a scenario where you're very vulnerable. Because what are friends for? Part of it, it's just enjoyment. It's just fun to be together. I think that's the best you can be, just to give that to your spouse. 4 key questions that I think you could ask that might help you to self-assess your relationship. A question that you could ask of each other. Is there anything I'm doing today that you would like me to do more of? Is there anything I'm doing today that you'd like me to do less of? Is there anything that I'm not doing that you'd like me to start doing from now on? Is there anything I'm doing that you would like for me to stop doing from now on? I mean, the questions aren't hard ones, but, we sometimes don't ask these questions of our spouse. Now, of our friends, sometimes we ask these questions. When we were together the other day and I said something, did I hurt your feelings? I hope I didn't. No, everything's fine. Thanks for asking. In a friendship, we're monitoring these things because we don't want to drive friends away. But ironically, in marriage, which is the most basic friendship, sometimes we're not asking good questions. Another way to self-assess would be to ask your spouse, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you like our relationship to be? Then on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you see our relationship now? And then what would it take for us to get there together? But there's got to be a fun factor there. We have to enjoy being around each other. That's what friends are for. And then third, friends are for intimacy. The word rhymes with into me see. And God comments on this in Genesis 2:24. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and they will become one flesh. The man and his wife were both naked, and they felt no shame. The last phrase is PG-13. But the key word is not naked. The key word is shame. Marriage is about intimacy. It's more than about sex, but it includes sex. It's about being vulnerable. It's about being accepted. It's about being safe. The beauty of marriage is it's God's gift of an intimate ally in the struggle. Somebody who knows you deeper than anybody knows you, and they're on your side. They're pulling for you. George Eliot said, "Oh, the comfort, the inexpressible comfort of feeling safe with a person. Having neither to weigh thoughts nor measure words, but to pour them all out just as it is. Chaff and grain together, knowing that a faithful hand will take and sift them, keeping what is worth keeping, and then, with the breath of kindness, blow the rest away." I did a wedding this weekend that involved a lady who's been a part of our church here and a groom who has been a part of another church in the area. So I did the ceremony, and it was held at the other church. And at that other church, I got to hang out with the pastor of that church a little bit after the ceremony, and he said to me, "I don't do weddings. I do funerals." I said, "Oh, okay. Tell me more." And he said, "Well, at funerals, people are in reality. Now, reality's staring them right in the face. I mean, nothing's more real than a funeral." But he said, "Weddings, nobody's in reality. Everybody's checked out. So I don't do weddings." And it reminded me of something that I've said to couples before when they've come to me and asked me if I would marry them. I say, "Well, I don't do weddings, but I do nurture marriages." I say there's a difference there. Kind of subtle, but if you're just looking for someone to say the right words in a ceremony, there's a justice of the peace, there's people in the phone book who do this. I mean, I don't do that. But I do feel called to nurture marriages. The most fundamental thing I think I can do to nurture your marriage is to remind you that you don't belong to each other. You belong with each other. Let's bow for prayer.